Welcome to Rubens Nest, Uniquely Yours, a show designed for the plus-size community, created to enlighten, entertain, inspire, and inform. Today, join the ladies as they continue their discussion on pursuing dreams of being in the entertainment industry, and if size really does matter. With today's guest, Micayla De Ette. Here are the ladies of the nest, Cydia, Shavandalind, and Tamia.
Hi, and welcome to Rubens Nest. It's so good to be back again with all of you, and so good to have my ladies with me. Today we've got a really great show. Our last show we talked about Hollywood, its perception of full-size people, and we had quite a rousing conversation with Belinda, Miss Belinda Skinner, who kept us going. And today we've got Micayla De Ette with us. And I know we're going to have some really good conversation with her. I'm really excited to have her with us today, so it's awesome. She's going to be sharing her story, talking about, what her journey has been thus far. So, don't click away. Stick around. Statistically speaking, it says that after the first few minutes, if the audience isn't engaged, you click away. So I'm hoping that you will not, because we've got a lot of good stuff going. Everybody doing well?
Doing well. Great.
Great. I'm glad to hear it. I'm doing very well. Since the last time we met, I went to Arizona. So I had a little excitement in my life for a change. I went to Arizona for a celebration of life for a musical mentor of mine, from Up With People. Mm-hmm. So it was a wonderful celebration, amazing, terrific, great. And some of us girlfriends, we drove and we stayed at another friend's house. And they have this beautiful Labrador. Okay. Dog's name is Sasha. Oh. Beautiful, black lab. And she has these pretty brown eyes, light brown eyes. Mm-hmm. But since my baby, Oreo, passed in New Year's Eve, I have tended to kind of shy away from other animals. Mm-hmm. I just can't embrace them just yet. Mm-hmm. So that first night we're getting ready to go to bed, and Sasha bounds into the room, and she goes next to my friend Annie. And Annie knows Sasha and has been there before, and this was my first time being around her. And I made a comment. I said, "Oh, Sasha's so beautiful, but I just can't bring myself, since Oreo passed, to get close." All of a sudden, when I said Oreo's name, Sasha turned her head and looked at me. And when I looked, and I'm going to cry, I'm sorry, but her little sort of chocolatey, hazily brown eyes had gone, and I looked into the eyes and I saw Oreo's eyes. Oh, no. And Sasha came up to me and she put her head under my hand, which is what Oreo used to do, and then began to lick me just like Oreo did. Oh. And now, the tears are flowing, because then she turned over and Oreo would turn over so I could rub his belly. And Sasha did the same thing. And so now I'm sobbing, and I turn and I go, "Annie." And Annie has tears rolling down her cheeks, and she said, "That's a message from Oreo."
It is.
Letting you know that he's okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I know people out there wondering, what has this got to do with anything? It has a lot to do with, because that's what we do. We connect, yes. And we connect on all levels. And people who have dogs, cats, whatever, they become a part of you, And my Oreo was my baby. And his loss has just been devastating. So having that moment, that connection, was so powerful. you know, and I thought about it, and I was talking to Greg, our producer, and I said, you know, it's all about connections, you know, and that's what we hope to do here, is to be able to connect on a deeper level. Yes. And that's why I say don't click away, because there's going to be something that somebody out there is going to connect with. Yes. If I've connected with pet parents, you know how I feel. Mm-hmm. And you know how it is when you lose your baby, and they cross that rainbow bridge. You know someday you'll see them again, but in the meantime, you know, it still hurts. And if you're struggling with wanting to be on stage and screen, you know, or whatever it is, connect.
Yes. Yeah.
We're going to connect today.
Yes.
Okay? All right, so now let me stop crying, because I'm going to ruin my makeup.
Yes, no, we must not.
And we move on to happy.
Yes.
Okay. So last time when we were here, we talked about, you know, full-figured performers, mm-hmm. and, you know, the ones in particular who have made names for themselves, the Melissa McCarthy's, Latifah, Jill Scott, Gabby Sidibe, you know, Kirstie Alley, you know, there's just a whole bunch of them that we were calling off. Yes. And many of them have, you know, like I said, made it because they were large. Mm-hmm. And now that they've made names for themselves, you know, and people have connected with them as a role model, you know, we are going into a place where we see them losing weight and thinking, okay, I looked at you as a role model, but now all of a sudden you're dropping pounds. Mm-hmm. Have you given into your view of Hollywood's perception of what a star looks like, mm-hmm. or not? Right. And I know we thought people were doing it for health reasons, yeah, but I think, and then there are some that just do it because. But what's the effect? We didn't talk about that, and so let's, you know, kind of briefly talk about what is the effect that we have, you know, on the viewers who have looked at these folks, you know, identify with you. Yeah. You know, do you think they become discouraged, or are they just accepting of it? You know, are they ambivalent? What are your thoughts? What do you think?
Well, you know, for myself, when they lose like tons amount of weight, like Jennifer Hudson, yes. for example, you know, we grew to love her because it was like, oh, she's a plus size girl. She's not letting her weight hold her back, and she's moving forward. And then she lost all of her weight. So it's like, okay, so, you know, where's that role model? So I feel like I lost the role model, you know, in the sense of she just dropped all of her weight. Mm-hmm. Now, Gabby Sidibe, on the other hand, you know, she's lost some weight, but she's still a plus size woman, mm-hmm. still. Yeah. You know, and I think in her case, you know, it has to be a health thing. Right. But I don't feel like I lost a role model up to her because she didn't lose all of her weight.
Well, for me, like with Jennifer Hudson, she's still a curvish woman. She's not stick thin. She's still a full-figured woman, but just a smaller figured woman, fuller figured woman. And then with the other ones that lose the weight, I would say more so it's going to be for the health reasons. Because I myself, I've done it before where I've lost 80 pounds and then I've gained it back. And on both spectrums, I was never skinny, and I'll never be skinny. I love me, and even if I lose weight, I'm still going to love me. So I think it's for many reasons. And I do think sometimes it is for Hollywood, it is for the look, because then you get the views, and you have the media, and you have the likes and the dislikes, and people are talking about you and the trolls and things like that. But when it gets to the point to where it's about someone else other than you, then that's when you go wrong, in my opinion. If it's all about you and how you feel and how you look for you, and no one else, then that's where you need to be, because then that to me is of good health, mental health, because it's not about them, it's about me and how I feel within my skin, whether it's a full-figured Rubens Nest woman like I am now, or whether I'm 100 or 200 pounds less. It's me, that I love me.
See, and that's a good message. Mm-hmm. I think for some, they send a message to their fan base that, you know, I want to be skinny because, skinny will get me further than me being big. I mean, I think of Kirstie Alley. Kirstie Alley, she did a show, what was, I think she called it Fat Like Me or something, or Fat Actress or something to that. Okay. And she sort of made fun of herself, but when you'd see her on talk shows, she really had a lot of angst about her weight. And she looks like she's, her body type has a propensity to be fuller, than bony.
Right.
And every time she'd lose the weight, then she'd be, I'm fat again. Oh my God, the world is coming to an end. Then when she'd lose it, it was like, the world is now perfect. I'm perfect. Everything is great, And that to me, that's like, I said, that's a message that is confusing to people, especially young, impressionable, young ones who are coming up who see this. And I always felt like I always wanted to be able to identify with somebody out there, whether it's a singer, an actor, somebody on a model, and I can go, yes. It's like Queen Latifah. She was my model. I she's many years younger than I am, but I appreciated her because she was all about Latifah. And she's lost weight, but she really is not skinny at all. And she didn't, she came down, and a lot of it for her is health. But she recognizes, I'm lush. I've got all of this going on, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That's a healthy message.
Yeah. And then even a lot of the characters that Queen Latifah played, I can remember back to, there was an episode on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where she was dating, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And she was like, this is how I am. Take it how you like it. If you don't, move it along. I so love that character. And, from a teenager, I'm like, yes, that's it.
Exactly.
And then when he saw her with someone else, he was like, wait a minute. So it's like, okay, I can relate to that too.
Right.
We're going to keep it moving whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
And I just saw the movie I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer.
Yes.
And I love the movie. It was really good.
Was it?
Yes. And I love the message within the movie. And in essence, bottom line is that she had to learn to love herself to feel the pretty. Because when she goes to this little incident in the movie, all of a sudden she's this confident and, don't you see it? I look good. You don't see it? Oh, you missing it, And I loved it. But then she goes through this incident again, and then all of a sudden this, what that view that she had of that positive part of her goes away. But by this time, she had already developed friendships, a relationship, and all this other stuff. And then they're wondering, like, what's going on? I fell in love with that other woman, that confident woman. Not cocky, but confident woman. Where did she go?
Yes.
And then she had to come bring that back with, find that. Because she didn't lose it. It was always in her. Because nothing supernatural happened. It was always in her. She just had to find it. And once she found it again, she still worked on herself, still working on the outside. So what you got to do is love you. In you, in your state of whatever it is. Like for me, love me at my 335 pounds. Yes, I did say that on camera. But I love me. And when I decide to lose how much any pounds there is, I'm still going to love me. Why? Because I am me.
Exactly.
This is me.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things we said about one of the shows.
Yes.
This is me.
Exactly.
Love me.
Yeah.
Or leave it.
That's right. Love it, leave it, keep it going.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I agree with that. Those are some good points, and I hope you all, are thinking along the same terms. I've got to go see that movie. It looks funny.
Yes.
And I was kind of hoping that was the direction it was going in.
Yes.
So
yes.
Perfect. Okay.
I feel pretty.
Well, we all feel very pretty.
Yes.
It's obvious. So. Siobhan, why don't you introduce our question of the day?
So, Jasmine met with our beautiful guest, Micayla De Ette, to get her feedback. So let's watch the interview.
Hi everybody, Jasmine Henderson here with the question of the day with Micayla De Ette, the beautiful, the powerful, and sensational Micayla De Ette. And we have a couple questions that we've been asking our guests that are going to be coming on. And today is a two-parter question. So the first question is, did you ever grow up wanting to be on stage? or on the screen, but never thought it would happen? And why or why not?
I always grew up knowing I was going to do this, but I did have my own self-doubts, but I kind of had the most amazing mentors and teachers that saw way beyond my color, my size, and they are the ones that actually empowered me to say, yeah, you can play this role. And so since I was little, I've been in theater and music, and they were the ones who were like, that's not right. So important to have people like that speak into your life, you know, and had they not, I might not be here. Who knows?
Right? Yeah, I totally can see that, especially since, you know, there are definitely some people who from the jump, they're like, oh, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do it. And then it takes them a lifetime just to get there. But to have that from the start, that's amazing.
There, even my theater teacher, there was this role, it's Pippin, I don't know if you know the musical, and it's typically played, the lead is played by a man. And she was like, this is your role. And I was like, no, like I don't fit the bill at all. Like my gender's not right, my size is not right. You know, my hair is all crazy and I'm, you know, mixed and, you know, whatever. Yeah. But she was like, this is your role. It went that far to even say, we're going to even break this gender barrier. And you're going to play the leading player in Pippin. And I did. And it was wonderful.
That's so cool. And I think it's so interesting, especially in such an artistic world and industry, that, you know, you can really create anything and kind of change and break barriers. So that leads me to my second question, the two-parter, is do you feel like there is size discrimination? Because it's so interesting to hear that, you know, you're breaking this, and that, and you can imagine things in different ways. But then what's really the reality, do you think?
So for me, in my experience, especially living here in LA now for 6 years, there's not as much a barrier in theater, in my opinion. In film, commercials, music, it's a hugely different thing. I mean, it's vastly different. And I think that there's very much discrimination against, you know, size for sure. I mean, I think we know that. People like Chrissy Metz, though, are breaking that barrier and saying, you know, this is not, you know, this is us. You know, and she's saying, look, this is real life people. And she's putting herself out there, and people like me doing, you know, movies about the truth. I think it's so important because we have been silenced for so long. Like, people don't want to see us for some reason, but we're awesome and we're amazing, and we have so much to say, and we're very, you know, very wonderful people. And there's so much more to us than our size. And so I think breaking that barrier is so important. And sometimes if people don't give you opportunities, you get to make your own. And that's what our movie's all about. Exactly. Find somebody who believes in you, and the two of you, like me and my best friend, you know, you can make it happen on your own. We were our own yes. So people were like, oh, she's not the right size, she's too big. I've auditioned for everything you can imagine. And they're like, yeah, but your size, you know. And it's been a real thing that people have said to me and also shown me with their eyes. And so I think in the entertainment industry, especially media, anything visual, as far as like, you know, cameras, I think absolutely. But it's changing. It's changing. I mean, movies like The Greatest Showman, it's just so powerful. So I'm really excited to see who's coming next. Is it you?
Right? And I love that. So that's going to wrap us up for today, because this is so juicy, and I have like so many other things I want to talk about and say, and I hope that you guys do too. And again, this is only the beginning, and you guys have to make sure that you check out Micayla. Can you tell people really quickly where they can follow?
Yes, so you can follow me on Instagram at Micayla De Ette, Deette. And you can follow my antics there. You can follow our movie that's coming out. It's called Hold On the Movie, at Hold On the Movie on Facebook. And our website is holdonthemovie.com. And it's coming soon.
So we will have more on this discussion in the studio. But like Micayla said, is it you? Are you the next one? What is holding you back? Jasmine Henderson with the question of the day.
Rubens. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that video. We sure did. And I am so pleased to have with us today Miss Micayla De Ette. Hey.
Hi, ladies.
Hey.
It's so good to have you here.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Actually, it's better because Micayla was going to be with us on the last show and couldn't make it. And I'm glad we have you to ourselves today. And give you the real star treatment. Yes. This is a star in the making. She really is. Micayla is from Phoenix. She was born in Phoenix, but ended up in Santa Cruz, Northern California, went to college and lived there for a while. And then we were very blessed when she decided to come and be the worship pastor at the church that I go to, which is awesome. And she has led some amazing worship sessions and prayer and praise, and has done some beautiful productions. And of late, Miss Micayla has been involved in a movie. Yes, a wonderful movie which is loosely based on her life called Hold On. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We got a lot of questions that we want to ask.
Ooh, bring it.
Okay, so you are truly an up-and-coming performer. You know, you have, taken hold and moved yourself forward. And my first question that I want to ask is, as an up-and-coming performer, have you had to run into any of those issues surrounding what Hollywood views as the star image?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the thing is that the word up and coming kind of ensues that we'll get there someday, right? I think that for me, when I met with my best friend who actually wrote and directed the film, he also produced it with me, and we decided, why should we wait till someone thinks that we're ready to be where we think we should be,
Absolutely.
Maybe until I lose weight, I can't be there? No. So we decided to be our own yes, and basically, yes, I've run into a lot of, people thinking I don't fit that role or that part, and it doesn't matter. The reality is, this movie's loosely based on my life and experiences, and it's really inspired by the things that I've gone through. And I'm the star of my own movie.
Yes.
In my life, right? Yes.
There you go.
Hello.
Yes. There you go.
I'm the star of my life.
Not
right?
starring, but
everyone else is extras in my life.
I like it.
It's the truth, right?
Yes.
So we decided to tell a true story, about a woman who happens to be a Christian, who happens to be a mixed race, who happens to be voluptuous, and we didn't make that the point of the movie. We just followed this person.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is. So, as we said with connections, people kind of push you and make you stretch yourself, and you got that with one of your teachers who put you into a role that you didn't think you should, as you mentioned, and so that kind of got you going. So, as an up-and-coming performer, have you run into, what Hollywood perceives is the star image physically, and what they expect that a star is to look like?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have. I feel like up and coming is kind of saying, we're not there yet, right? And for me, with this movie, what we did is we decided, I think I'm a leading lady, and I'm going to be a leading lady. And so we created our own yes. And instead of saying like, okay, when I get there, wherever there may be,
right?
We decided we're here now. We have a story to tell. It's a very powerful story. It just so happens that I'm in a bigger body than the average, leading lady, but it's still a very beautiful, valid, gorgeous story that has, a lot of depth to it. And so I met a friend of mine who's now one of my best friends, and he's a director, and he worked with some really famous people, like really famous, and he's just like, why is this girl not doing, this is a tragedy, And so he's like, we did some other projects together, little music videos and things, and then he's like, do you want to do a movie? Like, I see this, I see you as the lead, I see this, and I'm like, yeah. And so it's like, yes, there's been a lot of opposition, but there's also been us creating our own yes, in combating that, you know what I mean? And so I don't really need anyone's permission to do what God called me to do.
Absolutely.
And
right.
Because that was the case, I would never do anything. I mean, I've tried out for every single a musical show, like, you know, American Idol, X Factor, Voice. I got to the end of a lot of them, and like, what you don't know is there's like months and months of cuts before you see the cut on that's months later.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, you know, you go, you know, and I was living in Northern California, and I kept traveling back and forth, and I would think, this is the thing, and they would like look at me and be like, we're gonna pass, and I'd be like, really? You know, and even the people I'm auditioning with are like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Did you hear what she just did? You know, and so it's, there's definitely people who think this looks like a leading lady, that doesn't, you know, and I happen to have some things that aren't super popular in our culture, you know, like super curly hair. I have a beautiful plus size body. I have an outspoken personality. I'm a woman who knows who she is and what she wants, and I'm not apologizing about that.
So, nor should you.
Right? So yes, there is that, but I don't pay it any attention. We just move forward. We just do what God's called us to do, you know, and be your own yes. So,
which I like that.
I love that. Now I have a question. Now, in your experience, have you experienced more size discrimination behind the camera or in front of the camera?
Ooh, that's a tough one, because kind of both a little bit, you know, and not necessarily with this film we just did, but in general in the entertainment industry. Like I said, I'm a very outspoken personality, but I also happen to be a female. And that doesn't rub a lot of people the right way, you know, and obviously there's a way to say things with tact and, you know, things like that. But when you say, you know, I don't think this should be like that, I think this should be like that. Actually, that doesn't match. I think, you know, and you have to be, as a producer, you have to be in the details. Every detail of what you just shot or what you just did, it has to match, because that's when continuity issues happen and stuff. And I'm so lucky to have just an incredible partner who he's that way too. But with he and I, it's great. With other people, it's a little, it can be tough, you know, because not everybody understands where you come from. And so behind the camera, absolutely. Behind musical production, absolutely. You know, so I do, we're even doing a soundtrack right now, which is awesome, and that's been a beautiful experience. But everything up till now has kind of been, it's been a battle for me to say, hey, this is what I want. This note, you know, let's change this, you know, this and that. And, you know, it's been a thing, you know, where, you know, certain record labels have been like, we want you, but we want to be able to tell you what to do. And I'm not the one. Like, I'm not, you got the wrong one.
Yeah.
I want to be in every detail. Like, my music is my art, it's my life, and it has to come from a genuine place.
Yes,
and so I can't have someone else tell me what to do, you know, in that aspect, because it's coming from me, you know. And so behind even the microphone, behind the camera, you know, it's tough when you have but you have to have a strong personality in order to make these things happen, you know. And so, and of course in front of the camera, you know, people think that, you know, this size is a certain, you know, stereotype, and if you're not being funny or you're not being made fun of in some way, then it's like, how could that person be a love interest? How could that person be, you know, and it's like, hello, we live life too.
Exactly.
We have love interests in our real life. Like, we're just showing. So the cool thing about the movie that we did, Hold On, it's coming out this year, is that we put this woman in this, you know, movie, and we didn't talk about her weight. We didn't talk about, you know, her blackness, whiteness, whatever-ish, you know. We just told a story about a person who happens to be a Christian, and we didn't like super preach to people either. We just were like, let's tell a story about this woman and what she's been through. And it is based on a lot of experiences I've gone through in my life, and heartbreaks and things, and how the power of music, the power of friendship, the power of faith can really save your life.
Absolutely,
and
that's
so
the truth.
Yes,
that's a powerful message.
Yeah. It is. That needs to be told.
Yeah.
Now I have another question. Now that you've written, directed, produced, and starred in your own movie, now, do you think that's in a way taking back control in helping, you know, us move forward in the light of seeing plus size people in the entertainment industry?
I mean, I think so. I just want to clarify one thing. So I didn't write it.
Okay.
My producing partner, who we also have a company together in the musical side, it's called De Ette Dream Productions. That's what we're doing the soundtrack through. But so he has a company called Stone Canyon Pictures, and he wrote it, and we kind of did a lot of rewrites. And he's like, does this character, and so that's our little process. But he wrote it, but we both produced it, and he directed it. And
give him a prop.
Yeah.
Tarek Tomei.
Tarek Tomei.
Hey,
He's
Tarek.
Shout out Tarek.
amazing.
Yeah. I've met him.
in so many ways.
I
And just
haven't, but
total visionary, total. I mean, I don't want to get too far off, but he's the like perfect blend of left brain, right brain, which is so crazy to me because the budget for a film is like something that will make you have nightmares, right?
Right.
You get one thing off, forget it, right? The whole thing's off, and he can do that, and then he can do, of course, the artistic side, which is some people only have one. I'm definitely like, give me away from these numbers. Like I'm
Is
not.
there a budget? What's a budget?
Yeah, what's a budget? I just wanted to buy wardrobe, makeup, but that's the girl in me. But so he's amazing, and he was able to really take the essence of what we wanted to say, and then we went back and forth for months. I think it was like maybe 6 months or something, and we went back and forth and did that, and then we had our product, and we both produced it, and I am starring in it, and I feel like this is our way of saying we're normal. We're normal people. Like, we don't have to put on like some moo-moo and be funny.
Yes,
oh God. And this is what America or the world at large, we don't have to be seen,
second banana.
Yeah, second banana. We don't have to be seen, self-deprecating, like, oh, well, and making it funny. And then we can kind of get past the fact that you're big, you know what I mean? And then you're funny. Oh, and that's why we're still going to listen to you, you know? And so in this movie, part of her challenge, my character's name is Sydney Rhodes, and part of her challenge is that people do see her that way. People, like, they put her in a certain box, and she's just like, and so this person comes, and I won't tell you the whole movie, but there's a lot of challenging of each other, and how opposite people can really bring out the best in each other. And so with this, it was one of those things where we decided we're not going to talk about her weight. We'll let other people kind of, we want to be real about it, right? So there's like an executive, whatever in the movie, and he's like, she's too big. She doesn't, blah, blah, blah. And so we wanted to speak to it, but we didn't want to be like, this is her whole life. She is plagued by her bigness. She is, it's like, no.
That's what they do.
Yeah, they do. They make that a character.
And then she goes home, she's eating ice cream. It's all dripping down, and she's in sweats. I'm like, no, honey, that's not, no. We've been there, done that, okay? We've lived this life for a long time. Yeah. Some of us, yes, we do, stuff our emotions, and that's a whole nother show, but the reality is that, we have been subject to many discriminations, you know what I mean? As women of color, as women who are plus size. It's like, okay, thank you for sharing, no thanks. That's not my truth, and so it's kind of one of those things where we put it all in there, but we didn't focus on, okay, she's too big for the industry. This is why, that's not it. Okay. She's struggling through addiction of her family members and how that affects her. And it's actually so much deeper than her physical form. It has nothing to do with it.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like, yes, we're taking our power back by saying we're normal people. We have struggles just like everyone else. We're not always eating ice cream or, talking about how big we are and making it okay for other people. We're not laughing at ourselves. We love ourselves. And, yes, we all have periods of like depression and things like that, but other people can really be a force in our lives to bring us out of that place. And that's just like anyone who weighs any amount, Oh,
absolutely. I agree with you because it is, as I said a few minutes ago, I said that in the industry, they seem to want to make the fat be the character.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to the individual.
Oh, yeah.
That's the character, that's the interest, that's, that's what you want to show. But you're right,
They always have the fat kid, and he's being made fun of.
And there's always,
goes home to eat. He's always hungry. Like, can we go home?
Where's my sandwich?
Yeah.
I need a sandwich. Yeah. I actually get angry when I see that. I see it so often that I get angry, I get depressed about it, which is why we're here. Because I just feel that, if enough of us start talking about it and we start seeing, because this is what I want to see myself on the screen.
Yes.
And I want to see that if I have a story.
Yeah. Yes.
Tell my story.
Yeah.
My gaining or losing weight isn't the story.
No,
it's just a part of my life.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good because it's actually really cheapens what we show, right? Mm-hmm. So as producers, we're like, okay, we're the ones who get to say what goes on that screen. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the writer, it just so happens to be the same person, but usually these are different people.
Right.
The writer writes it, and we go, let's see, I don't like this, and we get to take it out. We get to say, okay, can you change this? Mm-hmm. The producer is the one, the person who, and the director, of course, it's their vision. And so when these two people come together, they say, okay, this is the essence of the story we want to tell. Pretty Woman, this is not just like, wow, this woman is a sex addict. No. That you missed it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You go deeper. She wants to be rescued. She wants to have a real love. She wants to, this stuff happened to her. Right. And, I don't even know why that came to my mind, but something as simple as that movie.
Yes.
But the writers chose to write it in such a way that this character was complex, and it wasn't just about, oh my gosh, she's a prostitute. You know what I mean? Right. It's actually about the human condition. It's about, and that's what we get to do. And it's really sad when it cheapens someone's experience by like saying, oh, he's always hungry. Okay, bye. That's the end of that character. Yeah. That character has no depth. We didn't talk about why is he always hungry. We didn't talk about what's going on in his personal life, what's going on in his family. But no one really cares because they haven't been taught to want to know that story. So this is where we come in and we say, we're changing the game. Right. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a complex story. And if we just stopped at the physical part of the person, I mean, that is literally the exterior. That's the.
It's like not going inside the house.
Not at all. You haven't even opened the window. You haven't done it.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like this is a chance to see someone who is going through real life and how she handles it and how this affects her. And yes, she happens to be this and that and other things, but what's really going on is she's a human being who's suffering, with the pain of watching someone basically kill themselves with addiction. And that is something that is like very universal. Many people have family members who are addicted, and it's, we would just, it would be, the movie I Feel Pretty, I just saw it. I really loved it because she was like bigger, which, okay, don't get me started.
I know, because she's not big.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But anyways, to the world, yes, a size 12. I would die to be that. To me, she's thin, right? But so anyway, but the thing is, they went deeper into the issue of what in the heck. Why is she so obsessed with beauty products, and why is she, looking in the mirror and wearing her Spanx and doing all this stuff? And they really got to the root of her self-worth and all that. And we spent time with that one character, finding out what makes her tick and stuff. And I just really feel like these are the stories that need to be told.
Absolutely. They do. You and I do share something sad and perhaps tragic. We lost people who meant the world to us right around the same time. And I remember you coming over and the two of us sort of boo-hooing and commiserating with one another. Yeah. I lost my dad and you lost your sister. Grief is a terrible thing because it can either consume you and you end up, in bed with the covers pulled over your head, or it can energize you and give you what you need to get out. And to either tell a story, to do something. I hear my father's voice in my ear all the time. And it's that voice that helped me to do this. Yes. To say, do it. Stop talking about wanting to do it. Do it. Yeah. So has your taking steps, writing the song, Hold On, actually working with Tarek and producing this movie, has that helped you? Because I know these are people in our lives who encourage us and are our heroes in a way, Did your sister play a part?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Huge in such a powerful way. And I really have to marvel at God's goodness, even in the loss and even in the suffering and the tragedy. In no way do I think it was God's will that my sister, you know, die an early death at 31 of a heroin overdose. And I really don't believe that was God's will, but I do know that he allows us to make choices and things like that. But I do also know that he can take the broken pieces of our lives and make it into something very beautiful. And if we let him, he's not going to force his way in. But basically the process for me was so unique, and I really feel like God, you know, he knows us. He made us. He knows what we respond to. And art is my life. It's my passion. It's everything that I do all day, and it speaks to me, and it gets to a place that other things can't. And I think that God knew that, and he brought Tarek in my life to be that source of like, wait a minute, what are you doing with your gifts? And I'm like, who cares? And I really had lost my my will to dream. I lost all of it. Like, I did not care, and I'm still honestly kind of coming out of that. Like, some days I'm like, okay, whatever, and then other days I'm like, I feel motivated. But you know, having someone speak into your life and say, hey, wait a minute, you're bigger than even this tragedy. Like, God still has a plan for your life. That's kind of what Tarek was in my life in so many words. He looked at the situation and was like, okay, who is this woman? Like, what is happening? Why do you not have music out? Da, da, da. So what we did was really God orchestrated, you know, one thing at a time. And it got me kind of out of my shell, and another thing, things that weren't as deep as this movie and the songs that came. I remember I started writing the song Hold On about like 15 years ago, and I was looking at my family, and there was so much going on. It was crushing me. It was just breaking my heart. And I was just like, you know, I really need a simple song that I could sing to them or to myself to say, you know, don't give up. I know this is bad. I know I'm acknowledging that this is bad, but it's not the end, you know? And I was going through my iPod at the time, and I was just like, man, I just need that song. And God was like, you're going to write that song. And so I just went to the piano, and this melody came. Like, and I'm not a pianist, you know, I'm a vocalist, but this piano melody came as the intro, and it just came. It was not me. And it was just one of those things, but I started it then, and it wasn't finished until the day we shot that scene. And so I was stressed out because I was just like, you know, how am I going to come up with these lyrics? Because there's one lyric in there, and it says, this song is for the ones for anyone who ever lost somebody. You're wondering, how can I live now that they're gone? How can the world keep on spinning without them beside you? To the grieving, this song is for you. And it's just, you know, I couldn't, but it was not that at the time. I was trying to get the words of how grief had made me stuck, and how I just couldn't go on, and the world was going, and I'm just so confused, like, how is this happening? And in that moment they're like, action, and I'm just like, oh God, what are the lyrics? It was not finished, and it had not been finished, but God was like, it's not finished till now. You had to go through this in order to finish the song. And the other parts of the song are talking about child abuse that have happened in my family, and have happened in many people's family, and abortion. There's just a lot the things that this song is deep, and like it covers a lot. Yeah. And
I've heard it. It's amazing.
Thank you. And so the verse about loss was not finished, and I was thinking about my sister who had lost her dad, and you know, it wasn't deep enough. But that day, God really used that to heal me, and I actually broke down on set. I could not go on. Like, the scene was calling me to sing the song a little bit and say, I'm not ready to sing that song, you know. And then the other character is like, you know, we need to do this, you know, it's your time, we got to make it happen. And then she's supposed to sing it. And I literally couldn't get through it. And I started bursting into tears, and everybody on set was just kind of like, should we cut? Like, should we, you know, and I'm just like, and it was like this wail, and it was like a deep layer of healing that God was doing to allow me to put words to this ache inside of me that I could never. And even that's not deep enough for me, but you know, it's okay for now. Yeah. And the movie, we put a lot of my sister in the movie, like so many really small things that no one would even know. But every time I watch them, I'm like, there she is. We used to do that. We used to do that. You know, and it means a lot to me. And we changed the character in the film. It's not a sister, it's a brother who's struggling with addiction, and for my family, so they could watch it and not lose their minds, and just so it would bring healing instead of pain.
Yes, it's a good catharsis.
Yeah. And it's still hard. It's still hard, very hard to watch for them and for me at times. But at the same time, God has used this process. I mean, when you do a theater or acting or anything, it's all about getting into that place that you were in or that the character was in. I just happen to be that actual person. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's a good thing, but it can be detrimental. Like for me, when I was shooting this movie, I had my friends on speed dial, and I would just be like, after every scene, I would call them and be like, okay, can you pray? Like, can you tell me what's real? Can you tell me what's current? What's happening? Like, just get me back into my normal Micayla, because I'm going back, Yeah. And at that point, it had been 4 years. Mm-hmm. 4 years. And it was, it's like an onion. You take this layer off, and then you take and then it's just, but God knows when you're ready to release certain things like anger and bargaining and all the things that when you go through grief, there's so many things. And sometimes people get stuck in one and they die angry. And they're just, they die in the question. They die in, there's all of these things that you go through in grief. And music, for me, it really, it guided my process of grief. It really did. It really said, you can bring the anger to God. Mm-hmm. Bring it. He knows you're angry. Mm-hmm. You're the one who doesn't know you're angry.
Right.
God already knows. He's not scared of your anger. Mm-hmm. Let it out. Yeah. Look at the Bible. It's full of it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yes, God is a safe place I can come, and I can also bring my heartbreak, and I can say, God, I'm not just grieving, I'm mourning. Mm-hmm. And there's a huge difference between the two. Yes. And when you start to mourn, it's like, okay, you're allowing God to really facilitate your grief and protect it and not let it turn into something that it's not. Right. You know what I mean? And I feel like music, art, this movie has been so cathartic for me. It's been so healing and hard. It has been so difficult. I don't get me wrong. It has been nights of just like, okay, you know what I mean? I just can't with this. And, lots of fighting as far as like, me fighting with myself, and even my producing partner saying, look, you got to do this. We need this. And I'm like, I can't do it, and prayer, and just, it was very, very hard. And at the end of it, I'm looking back, I'm like, I'm so glad I dug deeper. There's a scene that I don't want to give away too much, but it's like the scene for me. Mm-hmm. It's the scene where I'm the most vulnerable, the most broken, and I'm down at Skid Row, and I'm begging, this person to get their act together, and it just broke me, and it really opened up the things in me that I had been shutting down and I had been pushing, and it was one of those things where, and then I had to stay in that scene because we had to get several different angles. Right. So when you're shooting a movie, this was my first film. So I'd done theater my whole life, but this is my first film. Right. And I didn't know anything about the process.
Yeah, which it's very different from stage work.
Oh, it's so different. You do this exact same thing over and over, and then they change the camera, and you continue but you have to stay in that place, because when they say action, you can't be like, okay, let me get there. Yeah. I mean, you have to be there. It's action. It's the same scene. So, if we're looking at you this way and then we're looking at the back of your head, you still have to be just as emotional. And that could take 4 hours. I mean, it depends on how long, the setup for the lights, and you have to stay. So when they say cut, you don't get to cut.
Right. Of course not. Yeah.
Especially if you're the lead actress and you're doing the scene, and it's difficult, and you're supposed to be crying, because what would happen is you would see one shot where it's like you looking at me, and I'm like, and then I'm looking at you, and I see your reaction, and back to me, and I'm like, normal, and you'd be like, wait.
No, wait, wasn't she just crying?
Is this person like a schizophrenic?
She's so bipolar.
Yeah. But that takes time to set up the lights to be this way, so you just have to stay in it.
Yes.
And it was so hard.
I can only imagine that has got to be difficult.
I didn't know, Tarek really helped me with the process, but I didn't know what it was going to require of me.
Took a lot.
And I still feel like I'm recovering. You know what I mean? Like, I still feel like, wow, the deepest part of me is out on this screen, and everyone gets to see it, and everyone, and I feel very vulnerable when we watch it with, the theater full, and people are laughing and crying. I'm just like, oh, because it's my heart. it's out there, and people can pick it apart and say, I don't think that was right, and I'm just like, but God knows, and He knows the story needs to be told, and I don't know what He's going to do, but I know it's going to be big. I know He's going to really use it to heal people because we're an expert in our pain.
Exactly.
That's what we really know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We know our own story. Can't nobody tell me that God isn't, real or good, because He showed me a vision of my sister when I was like, I'm losing my mind. I'm done. I can't, and He showed me the reality of where she is right now. And that has kept me from losing my own mind, and I know that people may have doubts, and that's fine, but it's also what we know is what we've experienced.
Exactly.
And that's why we get to tell stories that we know, because we know them,
Right. Yeah.
We know the ins and outs of grief, and we know what it looks like to be someone in a world where our body is not celebrated. Our color is not celebrated, or whatever. Our femininity.
Our femininity is questioned.
Yeah, it's questioned, and it's thwarted to be sexual, and you know what I mean. It's not something that's necessarily honored right now, and so I feel like that's our job. That's your job to tell these stories that are in you.
Yeah.
You're the lead character of your own movie.
Exactly.
Right? Hello, everyone else is extras.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I mean, I heard, life is a stage.
Yeah.
And it really is. And we all are, we're living our truth.
Yeah.
And we can't let anyone compromise what is our truth. So it's just, this movie is super important.
Yeah.
It really is. So that it's got to get out there. Viewers, you have got to go see this movie.
Yes.
When it comes out, and we'll have you back when it comes out for the premiere, and maybe do a little premiere party or something. And we encourage you, please tell the viewers where they can follow you.
So you can follow the movie at holdonthemovie.com, holdonthemovie.com. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/holdonthemovie. You can follow me personally at on Instagram, Micayla De Ette, and we have constant updates about what's going on, and also my Facebook page, my artist page, Micayla De Ette, on Facebook, and I'm constantly updating on what's going on. Everybody's like, when's the movie coming out? And actually, it's a really good thing, because it was supposed to come out in February, the same exact week as Black Panther.
Oh!
I was like, thank God. Thank God that did not happen.
Right.
Because we would have been crushed. But God knows the right time. But I know it's this year, and it's just gonna be very powerful, and it's gonna be at the right time.
Yeah. Timing is everything.
It really is.
It always is.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So follow us.
Very
And
cool.
go to
I can't
theater.
wait to see it myself.
I know.
Theater, when it comes out in theaters, we get to speak. The people get to speak. We get to say we want to see more stories like this.
Absolutely.
Yes, and hopefully you all will reach out at that time when you do get a chance to see it. You should reach out now, period. And make your voices be heard.
Yes, and like Micayla says, be your own yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Now's the time.
It really is. It really is.
Don't wait for anyone else.
Yeah.
There's no time for that.
No, there isn't. No. And I'm so happy that you were able to be with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, Siobhan, you want to tell the folks how they can get in touch with us?
Yes, you can get in touch with us on Facebook at Rubens Nest. Please reach out to us if you have questions, or if you have topics that you want to discuss. We would be more than happy to speak with you. We will be more than happy to have those discussions. We love you all. So please, 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 please. We're also on Instagram at Rubens Nest on Instagram. So please search us. We have topics that we talk about. And like I said, we love to engage you.
Absolutely. We're doing one right now called Too Big. And we're hoping that, folks will write their comments and posts, because we're talking about what we're too big for. Too big for the robe when you go to the spa. Too big for when you're in the hospital, and the hospital gowns. You go to the doctor's office, you have to wear two. Or they give you the one that four of us could fit in. Airplane seats, etc. So please, definitely go ahead and put that down. And again, Micayla, I'm so happy to have had you with us.
I'm so glad to meet you.
Absolutely. It's just, I'm excited for you. I know God is doing great things. He really is. And my thing has always been, you know, there are no such thing as coincidences. No. Things happen, you know, for reasons in the time that it's supposed to happen. And this is now. This is, and it's coming up now when it's really needed now. Oh yeah. So folks, that's a wrap for us. And I sincerely hope that all of you out there who want to perform have been encouraged by what Belinda said last time and what Micayla has said this time. You've got to get out there. You got to take that leap of faith. You know, it takes small steps every day, and one day you'll get there. I heard that quote. It's an unknown. I don't know who said it, but it's similar to, is it Confucius, the Chinese proverb that says, you know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So take that step. Get up, get out, and be out there. If you noticed, Tamia wasn't with us for this interview. Unfortunately, she had to leave, but she'll be back with us next show. All right, so I know you people are watching and wondering, well, wait a minute, wasn't there somebody else over there? Yes, there was, okay. So from all of us here, thank you. Keep tuning in. Write us at info@rubensnest.com. You know, send us ideas, send us your thoughts, anything that you want to know. We're here for you, okay? So from the Nest, we say, get up, get out, and do something uniquely yours. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.